Film Talk with AJ Dean. I'm AJ Dean, your host, and I have the great honor of having an incredible co-host who's always here and consistent, and I'm so thankful, Paul Vato from Las Vegas. Hi, Paul. How's it going today?
It's going wonderfully. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be chatting with Sam. I mean, it's like you feel like you know people, and it's through social audio, but to actually get to see someone face to face and then chat a little bit, it's one step closer to in real life. So thank you for having me.
Oh, I know. Right? I mean, I am so thrilled to have Sam in. She is an amazing actress in Hollywood. And so let me introduce Sam and give her a warm welcome. Sam Doumit is an actress and producer. And I do want to say a very special thank you to Noah A. Waters III, because he referred Sam to us. And I just want to give a shout out and say thank you, Noah. We love you. And now I'm going to greet Sam. Hello, Sam. How are you? Welcome to our show.
Hello, AJ. Hello, Paul. How are you? And I love Noah. He's my fave.
Isn't he wonderful? He's an awesome director. He's so, so cool. So we want to thank him and give him credit. Okay, we're going to get right into it, Sam. We have these incredible movie posters that you performed in. Rob Schneider in The Hot Chick and Just Hustle. Can you share with us, they're fabulous posters, by the way, I love them. Can you share with us, go through each one of what role you played and how you got the role and some fun stuff about that? Take it away.
Yeah, so I think Just Hustle came right after The Hot Chick, or right before, maybe I think it was right before. It was around that time. So sort of like when it rains, it pours, and just work comes pouring in. So Just Hustle was an independent film. It was directed by Sage Bannock, who also starred in it, and it was co-directed. And that poster is quite fabulous. That is actually a wonderful design team called 7-1 Design Team, and that's owned and run by Damon Kidwell, and they do like the 007 movie posters and everything. So we were super, like, it was awesome to get such a great movie poster. I think Sage, I don't think I auditioned for that. I think he knew me and thought I'd be perfect for the role of Naomi Rose, and it was a film noir film, and we shot in Beechwood Canyon and these old homes and places. And it was really fun. I remember that shoot being so fun, and I love film noir, so I was like newly in Hollywood, and I get to be in a film noir in places where film noir was shot back in the day. So that was super fun and awesome. And then The Hot Chick. So let's see. I was originally a punk rock little girl in Northern California. So I used to have purple hair and piercings and a tongue ring, and they needed a goth girl, and I was legitimately a goth girl. I think before that I had, seen Fairuza Balk in The Craft and, Winona Ryder. So a little bit back when I met my first agent, I sat down with them with my tongue piercing and all my earrings. And I said, listen, I have all this experience in the theater, so I can do, and Kate Winslet had just come out in Titanic. And I think Beautiful Creatures, I think, was one of the, her earlier films. And I was like, listen, I have so much classical training. I can do anything that Kate Winslet does. And I'm legitimately an alternative girl, so I can do anything that Winona Ryder does. And that's really like what I wanted to do in the industry. So luckily, as evident in these two posters, I did that. I did a very classic role. And then in The Hot Chick, I played Eden, the goth girl, who they think turned Rachel McAdams into Rob Schneider. So that was the whole basis of The Hot Chick. So my agents really pushed me for that punk thing, because there wasn't a lot of girls in Hollywood at the time that could do it. There was Winona Ryder, Fairuza Balk, and like in my little circle of Hollywood friends, I was the only one wearing Doc Martens and spikes. So I auditioned for that. I think Tom Brady, the director, said they saw 3,000 girls for my role. And I probably auditioned 5 times for it. And in the final meeting with the producers and the directors, they asked me to come, no piercings, no makeup, no goth at all. So I went like sort of rave. I think those were the clothes that I had in my closet that weren't goth, but that weren't preppy. And I knew that's what that character wasn't that. So, and I think I got early on, I heard, you're their fave. I think that casting sort of let me know, like, don't worry. And when I sat down that day, they're like, you have a lot of fans in this room, meaning, so Rob Schneider was there, the director was there, the producers were there. So it was just beautiful. It was, I think, my maybe second year in town.
Wow.
Yeah. So to be welcomed like that, it was really awesome. My first role, was I was cast in Beverly Hills 90210, and in the casting, I literally met Aaron Spelling. I read for, he was across his desk. I read for Aaron Spelling. I was so green. I had no idea. I didn't even know what the word green was. My agents, when they would get feedback from casting directors, they'd be like, yeah, she's a little green. And I'm like, what does that mean? I had no idea. It was just meant I was inexperienced, but I was so inexperienced in auditioning. I had started in theater since I was a little kid, since I was 5 years old, but auditioning in Hollywood, I didn't know what I was doing. But I remember Aaron Spelling said one of my lines, and I responded authentically to him, or he said one of the lines in the script, and I responded authentically, and it was like a little bit aggressive, and I booked the role. And they had to Taft-Hartley me for that, so I was just like, Aaron Spelling Taft-Hartley me, so that was really cool.
That's amazing that you got to meet Aaron Spelling and have that interaction. Not many people have that. And, you're so lovely, Sam. I can see why he selected you. You were the perfect one for that role in 90210. And what an honor to be chosen, because that's a super famous, everybody knows about 90210, right, Paul?
100%. I mean, I'm male and I know about it. So
yeah. And it's just so cool that I got my SAG card through Aaron Spelling, from Aaron Spelling. He literally Taft-Hartley me. So that was really cool. And I really felt like I was just accepted by Hollywood with super open arms. And I got to play a wide variety of roles. I did get to play, what you speak, you manifest. I really believe that. And so in telling my agent right away, I can play these classic characters and I can play these alternative characters. That's really what the beginning of my career was, and, sort of always has been. I've always vacillated from, and a very good example of that was I auditioned for MTV's Undressed. It was MTV's very first scripted series ever. They'd done The Real World, but this was their first scripted series. And the role, I was, this girl named Jana, and I was super inexperienced, virginal. I've never kissed a boy before. So I was just like bright-eyed and, super innocent. And that very same day, I had an audition for WB's, I think WD, the network doesn't exist anymore. I think it changed to CW, but back then it was huge. And it was for Tolan Robbins. They also did Freaks and Geeks, I think. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And so this was a pilot called On the Ropes. And I was to play this like super like aggressive, totally punk girl and I tell the story. I auditioned for Erich Dawson Kritzer. So I was in the room with Eric Dawson for the network, and that was like the final audition for the pilot, series regular with the network. And Eric whispers to me, he's like, just go for it, Sam, just go all the way. So I grab Eric Dawson's shirt and I scream in his face, because that's how like gnarly my character was. And I booked the role. And that was the same day that I booked Jana in Undressed. I had 2 auditions the same day, 2 series regular auditions the same day, booked them both. And one was super innocent and one was totally punk rock. So we were like, how are we going to do this? So my hairdresser at the time said, she worked in the industry on sets, and she goes, you take this bottle of Streaks and Tips and you sneak into the wardrobe, the makeup trailer for the Tolan Robbins thing and say, listen, I just booked this like super vanilla role where I have to have perfect hair. And when I auditioned for this, I had, you know, roots in my hair. Can you sneak these roots in my hair every morning? And they were like, yeah, we'll do it. So that was like, you know, besides all the contractual things that they had to work out between the networks. So I think Undressed had first position on me. And so they had to answer to WB when they would take me. But yeah, it was an adventure for my first couple of years.
Wow, it sounds like a beautiful initiation to the Hollywood scene. What do you think of that? Is that normal, Paul?
I know. Well, it's one of those things when you know, it feels like when it rains, it pours, which so we have to take it when we can. But I don't know. It's not normal, especially to be so green, if you will, and then to be offered 2 roles on 2 competing networks. But I think it's such a great experience because then you see how anything is possible and they can be done, because they could have easily said, well, no, you got to pick one. And sometimes people are made to pick one and it just changes the trajectory of their life for the better, maybe for the worse. But that's amazing that you were able to do both. But then you were also savvy enough to go, here's the way I auditioned. Can you make me look like this every morning?
Yeah.
And, you know, people want to help us. People want to help you. And I think you just, you know, you were savvy enough to go ask them and put yourself out there, and it worked. So congratulations. I think that's a great story that should inspire and motivate people.
Yeah, it was a nice way to, you know, be initiated into Hollywood and know that, you know, it's not as hard as people say. So having that mindset, like, this is easy, you know, it just all seemed to happen easily for me.
Well, hey, trust me, I had a similar experience where, like, you know, 6 months after being in Hollywood, and this may have happened sooner for you, but you know, I got booked on a commercial campaign for Del Taco. I think that was my first one. And I was like, this is easy. Like, what are people complaining about? Then, of course, you had a little dry spell and you're like, okay, it's not as easy as I thought. So, you know, let's not let everybody out there think that it's that easy, but sometimes it is. You know, you're the right person for the right job, and bam, you're off and running. So that's wonderful. I'm curious to see then, did it just continue or then, like me, did you hit a dry spell or did you just kind of continue on that with that momentum?
Well, I thought that I had dry spells, but then I look back at it and I go, wow, like, you know, I'd look back at old journals and be like, I can't book a job, it's not happening. And then I'd look, and then it was like a couple months later, I booked another job. So for me, and also being that young, I was like, this is forever.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And then I, you know, do get distracted, you know, and I take on, you know, caring for others. And, you know, I have, you know, my agent would always say, don't let another friend stay at your house. Every time you let somebody stay at your house, you don't book, you know? So I was always like, don't take in people, because they get so distracted with being creative about building my social life, you know, with friends. Like we go to Mexico, we go to this, we go to that. And I would get distracted. And I think when I got distracted, there were dry spells.
That's very interesting, Sam. And I think that's a wonderful point to bring up, that you're very focused. And speaking of focused, I wanted to mention a wonderful thing that you are doing right now. You are coaching and teaching classes. Can we talk about that? Because this is fabulous.
Yeah, so I, you know, often had a lot of friends, you know, ask me to help with auditions and things like that. And then I'd have other acting coaches and acting teachers ask me to teach for them. And I started at Eastside Arts. I started teaching here in Highland Park at Eastside Arts. And then I started teaching at the Markland Studio where John Markland teaches. And then through, you know, both places, just start coaching and just coaching a lot. I love it. I love to give back. I love to share my experience, things that I learned when I was green. I wish I had, you know, people guiding me. And I did. I had a great acting teacher at the time, and I had a wonderful manager and agent. So I did have a really great team surrounding me. And, you know, even old acting teachers, I would say, I have an audition and I don't know what to do. And they would just coach me for free. So I just felt this really burning desire always to help my friends with their auditions, but just to help other actors. And it's my way to give back. It's my way to stay creative, have income coming in that is in my lane and not distracting myself from, doing something else, like getting a bank job. Not that that's like all my cousins they work for Wells Fargo, but but I will get really distracted because I'll go give myself 150% to whatever I'm doing. So
that makes perfect sense. And Sam, how can people, first of all, what's it called? What is your program called, your classes? And how can people sign up for your classes? And how do they get in contact with you so they can, they can learn and you can be their coach?
So the best way is to email me, and it's super easy. It's my name at yahoo.com. So it's Sam Doumit, SAMDOUMIT @yahoo.com. So you can reach out to me for coaching and classes through there. I currently teach the embodying character class, the archetypes class, and the TV and film class. So you can email me and reach out there, or go to the Markland studio. They're online, and that's where I teach also.
This is wonderful. I'm so thrilled, and I'm excited because now our audience can participate and get, learn skills and become a better actor or actress. And, it's all about improving oneself. We never stop learning, right? Right, Sam?
Yeah. And, that's really why I act. I act to, this is the way that I express myself. I've been expressing myself this way since I was 3 years old, and I begged my mom to be in the talent show, and she was like, "You don't have a talent." And I just wanted to be up on stage. I've acted since on stage since I was 5. And this is just the way I express myself, the way I process the world, the way I work through my emotions, my thoughts, the way that I work through how I perceive the world and relationships and interactions. And this is just my way that I communicate. And I think in communicating in this way, we connect to each other and we can transform through our work. We can be enlightened by a character that we play and what they overcome, and know that we can overcome that within ourselves. Or we gift ourselves things in a character that we might not gift ourselves in real life. We may use the character's voice to say things that we don't feel we always get a chance to say in real life. And, that can help transform us, help us grow, help us connect, and then hopefully inspire others to change by seeing themselves reflected in the work that we do. So that's also why I teach as well, to help actors find that altruistic way to share their art.
It's really about helping self-improvement, isn't it? It's really helping with life as well. I love this, Sam. Yeah. I love that you're teaching classes. Don't you, Paul?
100%. And I think that's been a recurring theme here whenever we talk to actors and people that coach and teach. And it's something that actors always need to be doing. We always have to be working on our craft, whether it's with Sam or other, I'm hoping equally as brilliant instructors and teachers and coaches as Sam. But, it's something that that you always have to be doing. And sometimes it's not even about acting classes, but just experiences, collecting experiences, and, learn how to crochet. I don't know, but learn another language, things like that. But I think it's imperative that people always be training. And Sam is such a wonderful instructor and teacher and coach that's something that that people definitely need to have in their tool belt. So yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
Yeah, and if you've ever read the book The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, she also talks about that, filling your artist well, and just always be acting, always be creative. That's something that I say in my acting class all the time. I said, always be creating. Always, it's like from Glenn Ross. Always ABC, always be closing. I say, always be creating. What are you holding up there, AJ?
I'm holding up the book you mentioned,
The Artist. Yes, yes.
The Artist's Way. I hope you can see it.
I can see it. I have it right there. I love that you just didn't even have to leave your screen. You had it on hand. But yeah, filling up your artist well. I think that, I just had an actress in one of my classes this very week. She was struggling with a scene. It is a character that is so close to her. She could 100% be playing this on screen. And she was like, I can't connect. I can't find her. I can't. And then you know, right away I connected it to something that she is actually doing right now for work, for life, for, you know, that has just been her through line in her life. And she goes, oh my gosh, I never even saw it that way. And snap, she was into it. Like she was in it. She was in the character. She had, like, she didn't even have to think about what line was coming next. She knew what she was going to say next because she was so connected to that character. And so, and this is a very experienced actress, but sometimes it just takes a second set of eyes and ears and, you know, another perspective on it to sort of break that open for you.
Yes, a fresh way of thinking, right?
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Okay, I have so many wonderful questions here I wanted to ask. What is your favorite TV and film production so far? Because you've done so many great productions.
Yeah. Gosh, what's my favorite so far? I mean, a lot of things that I love happened on stage because it's just so magical what you do on stage in long runs of shows. But the Hot Chick was super fun because it was like we were on camp, and here I am with, you know, SNL veterans, Rob Schneider, Adam Sandler. We had so many great people make cameos in that film. It was just absolutely wonderful. And because I had so much experience in theater and in improv, when Rob Schneider would throw something at me, I could just throw it right back. And he came to me on set one day and he was like, it's like working, you know, with my buddies on SNL because you can just riff like that. So there is something to be said to have that training, to, you know, have that live theater training when you don't know what's coming at you and the show must go on. And, you know,
It's like catching a ball. You were able to catch each of the balls that were thrown at you, right, Sam? So wherever they were aiming for, you caught it and threw it back, right?
yeah, and I think having the confidence of having been on stage and knowing that you can do that, right? Because I saw him ask other actresses on the set, oh, do it like this or do it like that, and it's something like super simple. Like, you know, I don't even think it made it into the film, but he wanted one of the actresses to go, you can do it, because that's been a theme in all of it. Like that happens in every single one of his movies, and she just couldn't get it, and she then like didn't want to do it. But like he gave me a very specific direction in when I give the hex when I put the hex on Rachel McAdams. He's like, do it like you're like, you know, demonic, like there's this demonic voice, and I just did it because it was like I have the confidence that I've been able to do so many things on stage. You just jump in and you just do it. So I think that comes from the experience of being on stage and having that confidence to just jump in and be bold.
I love that. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, and I would imagine, of course, I'm always going to credit improv with it, but if having that improv experience really, I think, allows you to take it to the next level, where, like you were saying, AJ, I mean, you're catching a ball, but then you're throwing two back, and then they're catching two balls and throwing three back at you, and you're catching three and four, and that's how you slowly, you know, build an improv scene. But that's wonderful that you're able to, you know, not just keep up with them, but stay at that same level and heighten. So that's wonderful that you were able to do that. And of course, you know, it's your theater training, but also, you know, I love it when people mention improv, especially when it's done in a comedic movie.
Yeah, because it's that yes and, right? So with improv, it's that very basic. You always say yes and, you know, yes, I'm going to do a demonic voice and I'm going to get, you know, my eyes in there and, you know, do it like really crazy, right? And then people like that became you know, something that stood out. I think that it's in the trailer. I think it just came up on Apple TV. It showed up, and then it shows like, oh my god, there's the hex scene, you know. And then people would stop me right after the film in malls and be like, oh, can you do the spell that you put on Rachel McAdams, you know? And so that was fun. Like little kids would ask me.
I was going to ask
and
you.
You know what?
Yeah,
you can always heighten higher because I can always tell you to pull it back a little. So it's nice to give them more. Where then it's sometimes a little hard to go like, can you give us more energy? Can you do it? You know, so I if they ask me to do something, you go for it. You go for broke. You do it as high as you can, and then let them worry about it, because they might love it, you know, and then they might say like that was a little too much. Take it back a little. You're like, all right, So I think that the instincts are correct. You go higher and then let them rein you in if they have to.
Oh yeah, like always go all the way, because then you're like, wow, that guy is so bold. Like he's so rich, you know. It's good. Yeah, I see
It's that confidence, isn't it? That really takes you, that really impresses people. And I love that. So I wanted to switch it up a little bit and talk about your investigative series. You've been on CSI, right? And Castle, which is my favorite. I mean, I bought the series on that. I never used to buy the series, but I did. So you're in it. And I love that, Sam, so much. What was it like working on Castle? And do you like investigative series?
Yeah, they're fun. What's fun about investigative series is traditionally in my career, I always played the one that was part of the problem and getting in trouble, right? So on CSI, I played a girl who was sort of a goth girl, another goth girl. So I had like a leather skirt and a leather jacket and fishnets. And it's a girl that was into they think was into vampirism, and this guy who works at a blood bank, he killed me and he drank my blood. And so there's this scene where he comes in through the door and he bites my neck and I scream and you can see my tongue piercing. And it's super. They asked me to pull some old goth photos from high school, so I got to do that, and they made an appearance in the film or in the TV show. I worked with Marg Helgenberger on that, and she was amazing. I love her. We got to be on location. We also got to shoot up in Santa Clarita, where the set is, where the studio is for CSI, which is right by Cal Arts, where I went to school. So when I think that, yes, I did. I did a first read, and then I did a callback up at Keller. It was up in Santa Clarita at the studios, and they would go, "Can you come back again?" And so I had an hour. So I went and I sat at Cal Arts, and I'm like, "This is my happy place. This is my creative place, Cal Arts." And I was just like, I know I'm gonna book this because I'm here by Cal Arts. I'm here next to Cal Arts, and then I booked it. And then that was really fun because I got fangs for that show. So they had to have me come up and get my teeth fitted, and I still have those fangs. So those come out like every Halloween. I'm like, I'm gonna be a vampire because I have the fangs that fit my teeth. I have 2 sets of fangs from that show. So that was just really fun, like getting to do all those special effects with the bite marks and then painting my entire body white so that I could be dead on the table. And that was fun, getting to be dead, to play dead twice. And I remember right after the shoot where I was on the table, we had an Oscar party, and I was like, I had to rush out to go to the Oscar party, and I'm like super pale and dead, and I'm like, yeah, nothing new for me, nothing new for this goth chick, just playing dead.
I love that you've been cast as a goth chick. I was a goth girl growing up in my high school. Can you believe it? I had my front bangs were blonde, and the rest of my hair was black.
I can believe it. Look at you with your cute black sheer shirt and your black nails. I know you were goth, AJ. We're kindred spirit here.
We're sisters, and I love that. And also I wanted to mention that everyone can watch The Hot Chick on Amazon Prime, and you can watch it tonight, and it's an incredible movie. And yes, we are sisters. We bonded, Sam. That's so cool, and I'm so proud of you. And you and would you like another role like that? Would you like another goth role? Would that be fun? Because they're so exciting.
Yes, I would. So, I'm a little older now, but I still have I wear Doc Martens almost every single day. I've got paper clips and safety pins in my ears, and black nails too. So it's you can't take the goth out of the girl. But now I think it's transformed into this. I want it to be this like dark goth superhero that helps young girls, or helps is an Avenger.
Oh,
right?
yeah, you would be perfect at that. I can see you in this beautiful, you could have a cape, or you could have kind of like a shirt that has a long tail in it, and wear leggings and cute Doc Marten boots. Oh my gosh, be fabulous.
AJ, can you write this script? Let's write it.
Yeah, let's do it together. I'd love that. What do you think, Paul?
Hey, I love it. I when I grew up, I loved listening to The Cure. For me, that was my kind of intro. And maybe pure goths would be like, oh, that's not goth, but like The Cure and Modern English and
Totally
the Smiths.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Totally God.
So,
Yes.
but of course, I went to parochial school, so they would have had none of that. Like, you know, it was a Catholic institution, so I don't think I could have gotten away with it. But I was a secret goth on the inside. I've always loved that. And I was gonna ask you, Sam. So, do you still have your tongue pierced?
I do, but it's not in there. But it's yeah, and you can see that you can see in CSI and probably in the Hot Chick. You know you can see that piercing. I know that there's a video. A music video that goes along with the Hot Chick where you can see all of that. It's funny because in Wikipedia, somebody people write your Wikipedia page, you know, and somebody says, and her tongue piercing can be seen in this and that, and that's how I know that it can be seen in that video or whatever, because it's from somebody saw it and wrote it in Wikipedia. So I learn about myself on Wikipedia, things that I didn't even know. But I also went to Catholic school. And I had purple hair and I had 14-eye Doc Martens, oxblood the color of this shirt up to my knees. And I really gave the nuns a run for their money. They were but inside, but you see, like on the outside and on the inside, I'm super sweet and not scary at all. So they were like, this is like one of the most innocent girls at the school, but like, why does she look like this?
I love it. I love this so much. This is so great. I'm learning some really fun stuff about you, Sam, and we're like kindred spirits. So we're family now. Isn't that right, Paul?
100%. Once you do the show, whether as a co-host or as a guest, you're automatically connected to AJ for life. So yeah.
But we are like super family because we're sister goths. Like we're old school goths.
Yes, we are. And we do it the artist way.
And we do the artist way. Yes.
So we have a lot of great things. I wanted to ask you also, thank you for that, Sam. I wanted to ask you also, on The Mentalist, can you share with us an epic moment that the whole crew shared together?
That's funny that you say that, because I was like, when you asked that, I'm like, what would be epic? Because it wasn't. I didn't get that. Oh, that's my watch talking. She wants to join the conversation. But we did shoot on location, and I remember there was. I mean, I can't remember what it was, but we were over by USC, and I think there was like a real shooting or something that happened, and we were just like, we're like, life is literally imitating art right now, or art is imitating life right now. So we were all safe, but there was like some real stuff going on. The whole crew was safe. I remember that I did Criminal Minds was one of the more recent investigative series that I did, and I actually got to play a good person, scientist on that. So I wasn't one of the ones that was in trouble. So in Castle, I was in trouble. The Mentalist, I was in trouble. My character was. In CSI, you know, I died, so I got into trouble. I was in sort of a bad scene. But in the
Mentalist?
No, not The Mentalist.
Criminal Minds.
Criminal Minds.
Thank you. Yeah. There's so many investigative ones that I got to play a scientist for the first time. So I got to grow up and be a professional. And I had a lot of dialogue, so much. One of those like, and I'm like talking about viruses and this and that and a lot of stuff I don't know. And, you know, you do your research and you find out what every word means. But it was a lot of dialogue. It was a mouthful. And I remember the two leads on the show turn around. We're in that back of this SUV while we're waiting to go. And they go, how did you learn all that? How did you do that? Because I guess a lot of people have to take breaks and check and look at what they're saying. And I said, I made it into a musical. I sang it all the way here, like all the way to set. I just sang it. I sang everything that I was saying. So it was in my head as a song, but I said it very matter-of-factly when it came out.
That is so wonderful. You know, I'm always amazed at how, you know, I have so much respect for you, Sam, and actors and actresses, because I'm amazed at how you can memorize the lines and they become you, so that it's not memorized anymore, but you're actually living it. So this is incredible to hear. And your process, your creative process is so amazing. Paul, before I hand it over to you, I wanted to ask Sam, what female or male actors would you like to collaborate with? You know, any celebrities or stars or directors you'd like to work with? Can you share it with us?
Oh, I've always wanted to work with Tim Burton.
Oh.
And I've always wanted to work with Quentin Tarantino. And actually, he had seen The Hot Chick, and he was a big fan of my character Eden in The Hot Chick. And so when he directed an episode of CSI, he said, I want to see Sam Doumit. And I went up to Santa Clarita and I met with him, but I couldn't do the show because I had already done CSI like a couple years before, a year before. So I was so close, and I will work with him. But yeah, I do. So I always have my top 5 that I love. And so Sean Penn is at the top of my list. I love Alan Cumming, who's sort of like, you know, not your typical run, right? Most people will say Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, but I love Sean Penn and Alan Cumming, and yeah, there's a lot of TV shows that are out right now where there's some wonderful actors that are surprising me.
That is beautiful. Thank you so much. So we will manifest that, and that is coming to right now. Ta-da! There it is. It's already happening, and it's coming to fruition. And I'm so sorry. You know, our show's coming to an end in a few minutes, but I want to give final thoughts over to both of you. But before I do and pass it over to Paul, I have one more question, if I may. Sam, you've been such a delight, and you're so amazing. Thank you so much for your time today. My final question is, what brings you joy, Sam?
You know, well, the typical and obvious answer is my kids. My kids make me laugh. They're just, I'm so blessed. I can't believe that that I helped to create a human, and that human is so magnificent and imaginative and creative. And I see myself in both the children. They're very creative and they're very, you know, outspoken, and my son is super funny and sensitive and lovable. My daughter, she wants to go to CalArts, and she's, you know, very outspoken. So, I mean, that brings me joy. Being on stage brings me joy. Being on set brings me joy. Collaborating, getting, you know, it just brings me so much joy to be able to be in this amazing town where all these artists come together. We were all young kids with this dream to paint or make music or write. And when you get on a TV show or a film, you have writers, you have painters who are painting the sets, you have musicians who are writing the music, collaborating. When we were on The Hot Chick, I brought in my friend Sarah, who's a musician. I said, let's put her music in the movie. And we ended up putting her music in another movie that I did called The Utopian Society. But, you know, I always want to bring my friends into every show and every film that I do. You can't really do it on TV shows. But I just think we're so lucky that we get to work with a whole set and a whole town full of creative people. And that brings me joy when I get on set and I go, I can't believe they're paying me to do this, because I would do this for free because I love it so much.
It's your passion, and I love your answer. Beautifully said. Thank you so much, Sam. Over to you, Paul. Any questions or final thoughts, Paul?
No, I mean, yeah, I have a lot of questions. So I hope we can do this again. But this is what I love about our interview show here, AJ, is that I get to actually chat with Sam. We get to know her a little bit better because we know each other, you know, from Clubhouse. But that format doesn't lend itself to actually have one-on-one conversations, because then, you know, you would be monopolizing the room, and we're not like that. We're pretty selfless people that, you know, we contribute, we give, but then we don't get to actually know each other. So thank you, Sam, so much for doing Film Talk with AJ and Paul, and getting, you know, allowing us into your life a little bit. And I think, you know, not just chatting with us, but the people that are going to listen to this are going to get so much value out of it, especially actors, you know, because you realize It's not an easy path. You know, we've been doing it for a very long time. You know, not to pat ourselves on the back, but sometimes we make it look easy. And I think that's why when people see us do this and they're like, oh, I can do that. It's just acting, but they don't realize how many components go into it, you know, because now you're not just delivering lines, you're walking, you're hitting your mark, you know, you're changing your clothes, what, you know, whatever it is that you're doing. But so thank you for kind of a, you know, a little sneak behind the curtains. And then actually I have a question. Is that a backdrop behind you? Are those curtains, or is that just like mine? Is it?
No, they're curtains.
What? I
love it.
They're
I've
curtains.
been I
I
love
love
those.
that.
I love
That's
that
my
color.
front yard out there.
I love it.
My roses.
Thank you for answering. That was the most important question. Other than that,
Oh, Paul, come on. Do you have another pressing question? Come on, Paul, please.
I mean, gosh, just do you prefer? Yeah, I mean, I love comedy, of course, but don't let that influence your answer. Do you prefer to work in comedic projects or more drama and serious because of your theater upbringing and all that?
Yeah, so when I started, I was just drama. I want to do drama. I literally told my agents, I said, I don't ever want to do television, only theater and film. That's it. I'm so serious, you know? And they were like, well, you're going to do television. I'm like, nope, I don't want to. But I love television, and I didn't know that I was funny. And, you know, when I was cast in The Hot Chick, I knew it was a comedy, but I'm like, oh, but I'm not playing the comedic. I'm serious. I'm goth, you know, and that's funny. Like, one of the tricks of comedy is that you get super serious about what you're serious about, and it's so funny when you're overly serious about it. So as I was in theater classes, my acting classes, I am always in class. Being in class, I also learn from my students. Coaching, I learn from, you know, right along with when we're coaching together. But I'm always in class. And being in class, I realized I was funny and I didn't know. And I think now I really love doing comedy because I know I'm quirky and funny, and it's a lot less stress and a lot less torment not having to go into, like, when I see that I have to cry, I'm like, oh gosh. I'm gonna have to
Yeah,
do some work and go to some dark places. But for comedy, I'm just like, I love it. I can just, you know, snap into it and do it.
wonderful.
So
Thank
Paul, what do you think? I mean, would you like to work with Sam? I mean, comedy, you know,
100%. Please bring me in on whatever next film project you're working on. Say, hey, I know this funny improviser from Chicago. But yeah,
well,
no,
you can be in our
course.
goth. You can be in our goth movie.
I love it.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I could be the Mexican Robert Smith from The Cure. You know, I'll just grow my hair back out, or I'm sure I can just do a wig. But yeah, I fancy myself the Mexican Robert Smith. So absolutely.
You're gonna be our man behind our curtain. You know, you're gonna be the guy that, you know, figures out like where we need to go and who we need to rescue, and you're gonna drive us there, and you're gonna be our comic relief. But me and AJ, we're gonna be kicking ass.
Oh yeah,
you guys, yeah, of course.
We're gonna be on fire.
This is a woman-led film, and I'm your Charlie, like from Charlie's Angels. I'll you know, like, hey, we got to get you here, and you guys have to use your superpowers to rescue these non-goth people. But yeah, I love it.
Come on, let's start writing it.
Let's start writing it. Well, let's start with a name. What's the name?
We'll think of it.
We'll think of it. Okay, something like something mysterious. You know, something. You know, it could be the goth tribe, the goth family.
Like the Dark Avengers.
There you go.
The
Dark Avengers.
With the Banshees. Like the Banshees were the Banshees.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I also teach a screenwriting class too. So
you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
So just email, have people email me, and they can jump into that. Anybody can audit my classes too. But yeah, I've been screenwriting, which is why I keep saying, let's write it. And so one of the scripts that I wrote, a feature film that I wrote, ended up becoming a finalist in the Women's Writers Fellowship that was founded by Nicole Kidman and Meryl Streep.
Oh my gosh, when was this, Sam?
This was in 2021. And then also at the very end of 2021, a TV show that I wrote won an entire pitch fest. It won the whole pitch fest. I pitched it and it won. And so that just happened too, just a couple months ago.
Congratulations. These are amazing. I apologize for not asking earlier about your current projects and your awards. This is phenomenal, isn't it, Paul? What do you think?
100%. And I really hope you put me in all of your projects. I just want the audition. I'll get the job, but just give me the audition.
All right. I want you to audition. I want to see amazing, funny Paul.
I'll audition too.
I got to bring my partner though. So
yes, of course. AJ, you're my sister.
You're my sister. You're my sister.
You guys are producing it. What am I even saying? I'm just begging for a crumb here. Yeah, you guys are the stars and the producers. So yeah.
Great. This is great. The comedy's already starting. So this is how it's going to be. This is wonderful. Okay, well, we've got a lot to talk about. I'm very excited about that. And let me go over to you for final thoughts. Paul, take it away.
I love it. I love, I try to connect the dots, and it's fantastic, Sam, to really get to chat with you and find out all these other wonderful things that you're also, I don't know, what's better than a triple threat, quadruple or quintuple threat? I mean, you've got it all, and it's wonderful, and you're so blessed to have a wonderful family. So it's fantastic. And I sincerely do hope that we get to work together, and please come back next time that if you're promoting something or you have something that you're working on, we'd love to keep in touch and come back and chat with us. And of course, people can find you or email you, and you're on Instagram and all that good stuff. So,
and take your classes. Take your classes.
Take
right?
Sam's classes. 100%.
Take Sam's classes. These are Sam Doumit. This is incredible. And she's on Instagram. She's on Facebook. And just email her, and you can take a class and improve your life. So also over to you, Sam.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This has been so fun. What a treat. It's been such a blessing. I get to see Paul and kind of in real life, and you, AJ, you're so beautiful. And I didn't know that you were a fellow goth with me. And so like, we are just forever bonded kindred spirits. And I'm so happy to come back anytime you guys want me to. And yes, anybody feel free to reach out. And my handle is Sam Doumit on Instagram. So DM me if you want to take coaching and classes. And it's really amazing what my students have been able to accomplish. I had a girl who's been, working for a decade to try to break in theatrically. And we did this character manifest class. And within 2 weeks, she got a theatrical agent. And within a week or maybe even a week and a half, she booked her first theatrical role, and she's just like rocking and rolling. So
This is amazing. This is amazing. Well, I'm definitely going to check it out also. And I did want to give a shout out. Thank you so much, Sam. You are Sam Doumit. You are incredible, and you're a beautiful goddess. And we appreciate you and love you so, so much. We want you back again soon. We want to talk more about your fun projects and your classes. And I also want to give a shout out to Georgette Dante. I'm going to be involved in a new movie she's producing called The Pink Derringer, written by burlesque legend Dusty Summers, and starring Dirty Martini from the burlesque world as well. So I just wanted to plug that in and say fun. Yes, and say until we meet next time, Sam, we love you and we are your fan as always, and will continue to be your fan. And much love and respect to you. Thank you so much.
You too, AJ. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, AJ.
Thank you. Bye for now.